Well, you'll have to forgive my slightly foggy disposition, but I cannot believe I'm about to kick off a video by saying these words. Ipswich Town are 1 point away from promotion to the Premier League with one EFL Championship game remaining. It was a monumental win last night at Coventry. We'll talk about that in a minute. We knew if Ipswich were in the hunt, it was going to be this way. The way the scheduling went, Coventry get to the FA Cup semi-final, and we're all looking, oh, where are they going to put that game? Well, slap bang between round 45 and round 46, which meant the eyes of the world were on Coventry versus Ipswich last night, which just ramped up the tension, anxiety, excruciating night for fans of Ipswich. And let's be fair, fans of Leeds as well, who were on the other side of the coin in this promotion race, which puts Ipswich now right on the verge of a potential return to the Premier League after over 20 years and maybe even more pertinently, back-to-back promotions if, and it is still if, they can get the job done on Saturday. This run-in has been insane, really. There is where we were after the fabled Easter period. Ipswich actually went top with back-to-back wins, 87 points. Leeds, 86. Leicester had dropped out of the top two incredibly, but remember, they did have that game in hand, and the narrative all season, just insane points totals, insanely high standards, nobody blinking until that point, and then they did, and by God, they all did. Leicester had those back-to-back defeats, didn't they? I can't remember. Was it QPR and Plymouth they lost to? Forgive me if I've got the wrong teams there. But they did win 4 games in 6, Leicester, after Easter. So they hit 2 points per game from that moment to claim the title. And that was more than enough, given what the other sides in the promotion race did, to claim the title back on Monday night. That put Leicester out of the conversation here. Ipswich didn't win for 4 games going into last night, but the one thing Ipswich have done better than any other team in the Championship this season statistically, look at the table, is not lose. And yes, when we talk about Leeds, they got a bit of assistance to get themselves into this position, but it was key. They drew 3 straight games, Ipswich. I was at the nervy 0-0 with Watford. Then there was a 1-1 with Middlesbrough. Incredible 3-3 with Hull. But they just added on a point each game. And when you look at the table, as I say, I think Ipswich and Leeds have won exactly the same amount of games. So as much as I come on this channel every year and say draws will kill you in the end, they'll only kill you if they're coupled with not winning games. And they may, again, lots of ifs going into final day, may be the difference. And Leeds, 5 games had been imperious since the turn of the year. Leeds lost 3 in 5. And I think everyone will point back to the home defeat against Blackburn, the absolute shocker that nobody sort of expected at Elland Road with the undefeated record and with Blackburn's position in the league. And that meant that even though both sides, frankly, have buckled, haven't they, Ipswich and Leeds, Ipswich's ability not to lose games in the run-in, they've both only won 1 game, but those couple of draws is just making the difference for Ipswich going into the final day and into this immensely tense game last night. We and ahed, didn't we? Is this weird scheduling quirk going to help Ipswich or is it going to hinder them? I personally had it down as a no-win situation. This weird, it was essentially a 2-week gap with the what should have been round 44 game postponed against Coventry. And my argument was, well, Ipswich can't win here because if they go into the 3-game week and, you know, they need to win all the games, the pressure will be unbearable. But even as it was, where with that Leeds defeat at QPR on Friday night, Ipswich needed 5 points across the 3 games. There's still 2 away games to play, and the first against a Hull side who can still get into the top 6 and make the playoffs if they can get past West Brom. I think it's a win needed and maybe a defeat for West Brom. I need to check my table. As I say, my brain's a bit foggy today. But Ipswich go into this game against Coventry. And now, after the fact, you can say, oh, maybe it was advantageous. They knew what they needed to do. But obviously, not in control of the other results of the other sides, particularly Leeds and Southampton, that have gone in their favour over these past few games. Also, I said on the predictions with Sam Parkin, I think Coventry are going to be knackered by this point. FA Cup semi-final where they were incredible. And then they're going back-to-back 3-game weeks after that to finish the championship season. And Mark Robbins said as much, just tiredness in the end, leading to concentration. And, just not much was aligned between Ipswich and Coventry's intensity and kind of fitness and what they needed from the games going into this one, which, kind of helped Ipswich. They took the lead early on. Kiefer Moore, Kieran McKenna, presumably planning this week down to the nth degree with the ability to rotate George Hurst and Kiefer Moore at the top. And then nervous. Haji Wright gets the equaliser. And I'm sure everyone's then saying at that point, it's just completely on a knife edge at that point at 1-1. All the Leeds fans are probably thinking, if Coventry get a goal here, Leeds are up. If Ipswich get a goal here, Ipswich are up. Again, we're in ifs, buts and maybes, can still turn on the final day. But Cameron Burgess, set piece, ugly old goal, in it goes, finishes it off. And Ipswich then, it's 11 minutes stoppage time at the end to get through, to get the job done leading in to last game. And when I say get the job done, I'm really being very clear in this video. Nothing is concluded. When I say get the job done, I mean to go into the final day with destiny in Ipswich Town's hands with a lead over Leeds. We said it all along. With the goal difference, Ipswich had to be in front going into final day. Else, you could get the goal difference swing, and you could still get the goal difference swing. Here is how we're looking going into final day. I put Southampton on there for a couple of reasons. One, because Leeds are playing Southampton. And two, I just want to really pull into focus. I just had a look at my lovely spreadsheet. 84 points Southampton have got. 10-year average for third place in the championship, 84.6. Okay, so I know you can read statistics however you like, but it's an objective fact to say that any second place team over the last 10 years, on average, they had one more point than Southampton would have been automatically promoted. And that, again, just exemplifies the standard we've had this season from the teams at the top. And I know they've dropped off, but including Southampton, and they are involved on the final day. Leicester aren't. They are champions. You can see that bang, 3-game winning streak. They're the only team that managed to get a sprint on and win some games in the final throes of the season. And as we said, the difference now between Ipswich and Leeds in that league table is basically 3 draws. And look, there's conveniently 3 draws in the 3 games going into last night. But it is Ipswich versus Huddersfield, Leeds versus Southampton. Just to add context, Huddersfield are all but relegated. They would need the mother of they need to beat Ipswich by sort of 8 goals and hope that Plymouth lose by 8 goals. I think that's the situation. Birmingham would also have to, I haven't got the bottom of the table up there, but what I'm saying is it's massively unlikely that Huddersfield are going to do anything other than be in League One next season. And you do have that situation where what do Huddersfield have to play for? Even, as I say, if they're 3, 4, 5-0 up at Portman Road, probably not going to be enough. I don't know what your mindset is in that position. Leeds face Southampton. Again, I don't know what their mindset is. They were really in with a chance, and they've kind of faltered really badly in the last few games. There was sort of decisive defeat, wasn't there, in the game in hand against Leicester, where you thought they could have maybe still pulled them in, Saints, but got absolutely hammered in that one. And it was very much, okay, this is all over for Southampton now. So there is the caveat that Leeds could play Southampton again in the playoff final in a few weeks' time. I'm sure Norwich and West Brom or Hull will have something to say about that. But it's one of these really interesting matchups for that reason, where do you have Southampton not wanting to show their hand? I don't know. But the permutations are fairly easy for everybody to work out. So let's put it all on Ipswich. If Ipswich win against Huddersfield, they are promoted. If Ipswich draw against Huddersfield, they are promoted. The only conversation we can start having is if Ipswich lose to Huddersfield. And again, there are many, many places in between them in the table, but round 46 is a funny old time, and nerves and weirdness, and it's the championship. You know, I'm sure everybody's ears and eyes will be, wow, if Huddersfield were to get a set play in 2 minutes and score and take the lead at Portman Road, all of a sudden it's, oh my God, here we go. But that's the only situation that brings Leeds back into it. We need, or Leeds need rather, excuse my language, a Huddersfield victory, and then a draw now, because of the win last night, is not enough for Leeds. That would obviously only take them to 91 points. So the only scenario that would see Leeds overtake Ipswich on the final day of the season is Huddersfield win at Portman Road and Leeds beat Southampton. Obviously, that is potentially the most unlikely. Actually, maybe the most unlikely scenario is 2 away wins, Huddersfield win and Southampton win, given we think Southampton are in full prep mode for the playoffs and drop off. But in terms of the promotion, there's only really 2 scenarios here. Either Ipswich don't win, you know, Ipswich draw or win, they're up. And if Ipswich don't win, the Leeds promote, and Leeds have to win, don't they? And we'd get them to 93 points, which is an incredible points total, but it may not be incredible enough. Look, it's not done. It is not done. Strange things happen in the championship. It would be an incredible swing on the last day, a 3-point swing, and, you know, an away win from a team who's going to be going down to League One, unless there's the mother of all incredible, we're in miracle territories for Huddersfield to survive. But we've got to come on here with humility, self-awareness and respect, A, for Huddersfield, and B, for the championship, which does throw up weird things. And yes, nerves and pressure can do funny things to even a team that frankly has been winning on a major scale for 2 years now, haven't they, Ipswich? And maybe that's been the difference, the extra year with the team that Kieran McKenna's had, a year and a half, I suppose, than Daniel Farker has had at Leeds when you put it in terms of the head-to-heads. Look, we talk about the context if it does happen, but suffice to say, we're looking at, I think, Sheffield United's automatic promotion in 2019. That was mighty impressive. League One season stability, innovative tactics, you know, against some really good teams up there as well that season. And then you got to go back to Norwich and Southampton. And remember, this is pre-parachute payments being quite so ridiculous and reduced down to 3 years, and the Premier League TV money bumping that up. Norwich and Southampton went back-to-back in the sort of before the worst of the parachute payments era, where it became pretty hard to challenge and pretty hard to do that, and the, you know, distortion of wages and all of that good stuff that we love to hate to love to talk about, but have to, because, you know, it's a big deal. So it would be a hell of an achievement if Ipswich Town can score 1 point in a home game against 23rd place Huddersfield at the weekend to go to the Premier League. Just a quick apology, actually, to finish this video. I did not do a watch along of this game last night, and I did not go to this game last night. And the reason for that is we've actually reached the point in this run-in, and something I always used to say on the channel, I don't say it anymore, please leave your bias at the door. And I always used to pride myself on, I'm the guy, remove myself from the situation, be objective, be balanced, call it fairly, show respect for both sides of every equation, for every side in the championship. And I did a watch along of Ipswich or Hull versus Ipswich at the weekend. And I got a load of grief and blowback saying, well, Ben, look at you. You're going crazy when Ipswich score and you barely react to the Hull goals. And I kind of look back, and the first instinct you get when you get criticised online is, oh, they're wrong. They're wrong. Don't criticise me. I think that's natural. And then I thought about it, and I thought, I've jumped the shark here. I'm the guy who used to say, please leave your bias at the door. And I'm so emotionally involved in this title run-in, I can't do it. I cannot do it. And I'm so sorry. Well, I'm not sorry for being a human being with emotions, but I'm sorry that I couldn't do last night what this channel's been built on. I was a wreck watching it on my own. Hey, maybe it would have been easier with the chat and with the audience and whatnot on the channel, but I made the decision. If you'll notice, I quietly did this for the East Anglian Derby a few weeks ago, that if I cannot call this down the middle and show the right level of respect for both teams and give a balanced view to fans of both teams and neutral fans that do watch our channel here, I'm not doing it. I've set the standard at that. And if I can't do it, I'm not doing it. And I'm sorry if that makes me a fallible human who's too emotionally invested. My team's been terrible for 2 decades. And I got to the point where I could distance myself from it. But Kieran McKenna has brought back the emotion in me and many, many other Ipswich fans. And that is the reason why there was no coverage of Coventry Ipswich last night. And I'm proud of it and I'm not proud of it, but that's the deal. Let me know your thoughts on this monumental night, last night. See, the emotions are bloody everywhere now, aren't they? I can't think what Saturday's going to be like. I tell you what Saturday's going to be like. It's either going to be heaven or absolute hell in terms of throwing it all away at the very, very last juncture. Let me know your thoughts on last night, Coventry v Ipswich. This run-in of everybody falling over and Leicester just getting their grip again at the end. And what the hell is going to happen on Saturday as Ipswich face Huddersfield at Portman Road, knowing 1 point will do it, and Leeds in the background looking to just beat Southampton and take advantage of any surprise we might get.